M&E frameworks. In this class, we're going to look at the basic frameworks that are used in M&E. So what's a framework? Framework are key elements of M&E plans that depicts the components of a project and the sequence of steps needed to achieve the project's desired outcome. So essentially what it means is that elements of your M&E plan, you plan to increase the number of voters from 10 to 100. That's your plan. So what are the components of that plan? How do you plan to do that? You do community engagement, you meet stakeholders, you look for funds, you campaign, media engagement, media advocacy. Beyond that, you now give in a chronological order. How would you do those steps? Step 1, step 2. Step 1 is like you undertake community meeting. No, step 1 is like you gather information about your community. Step 2 is that you look at the peculiar electoral history of the community. Step 3, I meet with stakeholders and you intimate them with your plan. Step 4, you do stakeholder engagement. Step 5, you do media engagement, enlarged media engagement. Step 6, you meet with election stakeholders, security services, and other stakeholders whose role impacts on election security. So that's your framework. So I will repeat once again, your framework are the key elements in your M&E plans and the sequence in which you do them. Component 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. I will do component 1 first, component 2 first, component 4 third. So how do you arrange them? Then what's your conceptual framework? Conceptual framework is basically referred to as a research framework. So it's useful for identifying and illustrating the factors and relationships that influences the outcome of program or intervention. It also shows the causal linkages between key components of a program and outcomes. So a conceptual framework, identifying factors and relationships. So is there a link between addressing security and increasing voter turnout? Is there a link between creating convenience for people at voting centers and increased turnout? Is there an increase between explaining the voter process and reducing ballot papers that are cancelled, votes that are cancelled? So your conceptual framework tells you the link between these concepts. Then the third framework is what we call as result framework. It's also referred to as strategic frameworks, and are diagrams that direct the causal relationship between incremental results of the key activities of a way to overall objective and goal of the intervention. So what it means is that if I do 1 and 2 and 3, I achieve objective 1 in my framework. If I meet with women regularly, I increase confidence in the electoral process. If I increase confidence in the electoral process, I increase the number of people that come out to vote. If I increase the number of people that come out to vote, I increase the strength of a democratic culture. I strengthen our democratic culture. So you can see the link between these components. And the last one is the logic model, which is referred to as the M&E framework. Provides streamlined linear interpretation of how you use your resources. So for your logic framework, you decide that I have 1 million naira to spend. How do I put it? So if you have 1 million naira to spend and you use 700 of it to buy food for entertainment, would you achieve your goal? If you have 1 million to spend and you use 900 out of it to do media campaign, are you going to achieve your... So how do you, value for money, how do you tie value for money for resources that you've used? So once again, your M&E framework depicts components of a project and the sequence in which you do it. In what order do you undertake those sequences?